There we go. I was having a little bit of trouble getting online, but here I am. How is everyone doing on this Thursday? I am in my gym clothes because right after this, I'm going to the gym. Does anybody work out tonight? Did anybody work out? Let me know in the comments. I always love to hear what people are doing for workouts. So today's topic is, who do you think you are? This is really a fun, exciting topic, and I want to have fun and be interactive. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of time to hop on here in the group, and I'm going to pop in and see who's here. Please say hi and let me know when you get on. I'm going to start by sharing a quick little story with you first before we get into this topic. Let's see, any comments? Come on, let me know that you're here. I want to see your names. Hi, Mary. Good to see you. Awesome. Hi, Akila. Oh, I'm so excited. I'll be seeing you in just a couple of weeks. Yay. Okay, so who do you think you are? Okay, something really exciting I want to share first is that my business coach, Shanda Sumter of Hardcore Business. I know you all have heard me talk about her and you've heard me talk about the zone event, but here's something super exciting. She reached out to me yesterday and asked if I would introduce her on stage at the zone event. Okay, that's super, super exciting to me. And I'm just so honored that she even thought of me. So I will be one of the people, I believe she'll be on stage right before that. And then in the second segment, I'm going to come on and she's asked me to share something inspirational and then bring her on the stage. So that's really, really exciting, like I said. And the point of me sharing this news with you is, one, so you can celebrate with me, but two, because I never used to think of myself as a speaker or as someone who can speak on stage in front of people. I used to be definitely afraid of speaking on stage or speaking in front of people. And the first opportunity that I had to do this was, let's see, I believe in 2013 or 2014. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 2013. So that was 5 years ago, and I haven't actually been on stage like that since then. So there's going to be 1,000 people in this room, and pretty much the other speaking arrangement that I had was the same. And I always thought of myself as somebody behind the scenes. Believe it or not, you might not recognize that about me. Maybe you think that I'm somebody who's outgoing and who has no problem speaking in front of people. But that wasn't always the case. I used to think of myself as somebody who wasn't a good speaker. I thought of myself as someone who was better at articulating my thoughts, my feelings in writing, because I identified myself as a writer, not a speaker. So I remember when I had this opportunity to speak in front of a large audience 5 years ago, and that was the first opportunity to really do a big speaking event. And I almost like vomited just thinking about it, right? And I almost gave up that opportunity. I say almost because it was a fleeting moment of the fear taking over me. And then I remember looking at my husband and saying, wait a minute, I can do this. If other people can do it, I can do it. And if other people can do it well, I can too. I've got to stop telling myself this old story that for some reason I've made up, and I couldn't really connect the dot to where it came from. But I knew that it was some kind of old story that I just decided to believe about myself. And I also knew that I could change the story. And so that's what I did. And I remember I was, I started writing and this was, by the way, you guys, this was like a week notice. Just kind of like this one is 2 weeks notice. Those entrepreneurs, man, they are like, they wing things sometimes, right? Like things are quickly moving and changing. That's what I love about being an entrepreneur. So anyway, I remember putting everything together and just practicing. And because I have all of my skills and tools and strategies through the powers of manifestation and law of attraction that I have been practicing for so long, I knew that all I need to do was visualize how I was going to look on stage, how I was going to speak, how I was going to present myself. So along with preparing, part of that preparation was, how do I want to see myself? I get to use my energy to manifest what's going to happen on that stage. And I'll never forget when I was waiting to go on stage, and I was kind of doing my deep breathing. And I said to myself, I am a great public speaker. And it's not just an affirmation, but the moment that I said it, because I had been preparing myself that week with my visualization and seeing myself as a great speaker and seeing myself really delivering content that was really going to support the audience. This was a 15-minute presentation, which is a long time to be speaking on a stage. As I had been doing that week, I started to create for myself the new belief that I actually was a great speaker. And just before I got on stage, I said to myself, I am a really great speaker. I'm a great public speaker. And at that moment when I said it, I really believed it. I got on stage, I did my presentation, and at the end, I had no idea this was going to happen. They asked the audience to vote. I believe there were 6 or 7 of us who did presentations on the best presentation. And guess who won? Me, this girl who was so afraid to get on stage. And here's what that told me, and what it reminded me, is that I get to create whoever I want to be at any given moment. I don't have to believe or repeat old stories about who I am or who I think I am or who I was. I get to create who I want. I get to create how I show up now, how I show up in the future. And so do you. So do you, my friend. So what story have you been telling yourself about who you are that is now holding you back? What story have you been telling yourself about who you are or who you're not that has been holding you back? Think about that. How often do we serve a self-fulfilling prophecy? Something that maybe our parents told us, a teacher told us, a bully, or just somebody, not even somebody trying to harm us, you know? Maybe there wasn't even a negative intention, but something that somebody says to us, we adopt it and repeat it and believe it, and therefore we get stuck in that label. You're so loud, something like that. Or, it just anything. When I think of certain things that I've heard said to people, or when I talk to clients, oh, you're a nice girl. You are so well behaved, right? Things like that, those labels that people have carried from childhood over into adulthood, even though that sounds silly, like you're a nice girl, you follow the rules, those types of things. When someone is self-identified with that for so long, that little voice can sometimes hold that person back from speaking up for themselves, right? Because they're the nice person, or they follow the rules, so they don't actually take any risks or do things a little bit differently, when in fact that could be the thing that they need to do in order to get the next level in their life. Does that make sense? Are you guys connecting with that? Let me know in the comments. Let me know by giving me some likes and all of that. So yesterday when I got the message from Shanda about introducing her on the stage, I thought, that's it, of course, because I'm a great speaker and I have a presence on stage, right? I'm telling myself this because I had to train myself that, right? I have a presence on stage. I am not worried about what people are thinking about me because I'm actually in service to the people in the audience. You know, all that rampage, that positive rampage that I created for myself back then has stayed with me. So when I get that message from Shanda, I say, oh, of course she would think of me. Even though I was shocked, in the next moment I said, well, of course, because that is who I now think I am. And so now I get to step on this stage in front of my peers, in front of over 100 people that I've personally invited, and in front of my mentor, Shanda Sumter. And I get to stand there and be this speaker, this presence, this leader that not so long ago, I believed I was not. Do you get that? It wasn't until I started to believe that I was that I start to manifest these other opportunities. You always, everything in your life matches what you believe about yourself. So you will always, always, always be limited in what you manifest and what you create for yourself. You will always be limited by what you believe in yourself. Write that down. You will always be limited by what you believe in yourself. And when you decide to believe a certain thing about yourself, you will see that you attract more of that. You will see that you attract proof of it. You can attract proof for anything. Think about it. How many people do you know who are really negative or have a really negative life? Or every time you ask them, how are things going? It's like a long laundry list of everything that is going wrong. Those people tend to attract negative things in their life, don't they? It's just like, oh, another thing happened to her, another thing happened to her. Or that person is, another thing happened to me, another thing, I can never get ahead. Somebody's always holding me down, or something keeps coming up, when it rains, it pours. Well, yes, you will continue to find proof for what it is you believe, and you will continue to attract that into your life. So what do you believe about yourself? I'm going to look in the comments and see what you guys are saying. Someone told me I looked like a boy when I was younger, and I have never thought. Lynette, this is what I'm talking about right there. So you now get to own your power. You get to decide what you look like, who you look like. You get to tap into the beauty, the feminine, beautiful beauty that you are, and not give that power of identifying you to some little boy or whoever said that to you when you were younger. The things that have been said to us in these adolescent developmental years, they really carry a lot of weight and power. And it's up to us as adults to go back and reclaim that power, to take it back. It's up to us, each of us in our life, to take it back. You get to take that power back, Lynette. There's a really powerful training that Tony Robbins does where he teaches you, and if you have Netflix, Google, I'm not your guru. Okay. Google, I'm not your guru, or look it up in Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix. There's a part in that training and coaching where he actually teaches you how to go back into a time in your life. And Lynette, this would be that time when somebody told you that, where you made that decision in your mind based on what someone said to you or something that you saw, something that happened. And you get to change what was said. You get to change certain circumstances. And it's so powerful. In that moment, you really can feel that shift. So I suggest you go and find that. I'm not your guru. Akila, told I look better with makeup on, so hard to walk out without my makeup, slowly getting comfortable. Yes, this is another example, right? And here's another thing. We give so many people so much power over us. And the sad thing about that is nobody has your power. Like nobody has power over you. You have the power. So when we allow other people to control our actions, what we do or don't do, what we say or don't say, what we believe about ourselves or don't believe about ourselves, then we're on a hamster wheel. Because at any given time, you could be swayed by something else somebody says or doesn't say. And never be connected to your own voice. Remember, we talked about that last week or the week before. You start to let those things drown out your voice. For those of you who are listening right now, either live or to the replay, please hear me out on this. You are the only person who has power over you. You're the only person. And so once you make a decision about who you are, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about how you look, what you believe about what you're capable of, then that belief squashes all the other things that come from the outside. And then, my friend, you stand in your power and your glory. Then you are unstoppable. Your manifestation powers are magnified. Law of attraction says so. So, who do you think you are? Can you answer that question? What do you believe about yourself? What do you say about yourself to yourself and to other people? What do you tell people about yourself? And start to analyze that. I don't want to say pick it apart, right? So you could even take a notebook and just start writing. Like, what are some things that I think about myself or that I say to myself on a regular basis? Just start writing it down and see what comes up. Just jot down things that come up and start to analyze that and say, wait a minute, is this really true? Is this a fact? Or is this just something that I heard from someone said to me a long time ago? Or is this just something, that I made up about myself that really isn't even true? How do I know this is true? Is there proof that this is true? Right? Really pick it apart. Another story I should have shared with you, it just popped up for me, is I'll never forget, how old would I have been then? Maybe 12 years old. That's a weird time, right? When you're 12 or 13, you're going through puberty, and you're just very much worried about what your friends think about you and whatnot. So I was in my friend's living room, and my nationality is Puerto Rican. My parents were both born in Puerto Rico, but I was born and raised here. And my mother spoke to us mostly in English. And when she did speak to us in Spanish, we always replied in English, even though we understood Spanish. Same thing with my grandparents. It was very rare that I actually spoke in Spanish, even though I understood everything. And now I speak in Spanish all of the time. But it didn't happen until adulthood. And here's why. When I was 12 years old and I was sitting in my friend Kayla's house, who is super fluent in Spanish, and her whole family is, her aunt walked in the door and had her hair cut recently. And in Spanish, in what I thought was good Spanish, I decided I was going to make a comment about her hair. And I said something like, se corte el pelo, or something. I said it off, like it wasn't correct. It was off just a little bit, but you could make sense out of what I said. And right away, both of them laughed. They laughed at me. And my friend Kayla said, just speak in English, girl. And that struck me just as probably as powerfully, Lynette, as the person who said you looked like a boy, or Akila, the person who said you look better with makeup. That struck me so hard that it stopped me from speaking Spanish, from wanting to speak Spanish even more, because I was ashamed, I was embarrassed, and I shut down. So I remember when one of the first times as an adult that I went to Puerto Rico to visit my family. And at this time I had done so much personal development work and leadership work, and I had really grown as a person, and I was no longer stuck in that. And I knew that that was just an old story, and I knew where it came from, right? So I was over that. But still, this was going to be the first time that I would be needing to speak in Spanish the entire time, because my family whom I was visiting didn't really speak English. So this was about maybe 10 or 11 years ago. And I remember spending the whole day with my family and leaving and just being absolutely shocked at how fluent I actually was in Spanish, because I had went so many years silenced, not speaking in Spanish, only speaking in English, because of that embarrassing moment. Does that make sense to you guys? So I told myself, I don't speak good Spanish. And I would tell people that, no, I understand, but I don't really speak it. And guess what? It wasn't true. It wasn't actually true. I sat there and conversed in Spanish with my entire family from ages 20s up to 70s. And I asked them too, and they said, you speak great Spanish. So this is what I mean by, who do you think you are? Once I had gotten over that hump of being shamed and realizing that that didn't matter and that wasn't going to have power over me, that was it. It was like, oh, I always spoke really great Spanish. You know, so who do you think you are? What have you been believing about yourself? What have you been saying about yourself, to others? And how is that potentially holding you back from what you truly desire? You got to do some deep work. You've got to do the deep work, because your success in life is always limited by your personal development. And what you believe about yourself is part of your personal development. Okay, so I want to leave you with that. Please let me know in the comments what you liked about this video today. Please let me know in the comments what you liked about this video today and what resonated with you. Okay, thanks for sharing, and I will be inside of the Facebook group to answer any questions as you have them and as you watch the replay. Okay, everyone. By the way, reminder, we are having a giveaway right now. So if you haven't entered yet, do that. Go to discussion, click the little tab that says discussion, click the pinned post, and everything about how to enter the giveaway is there. It starts with you inviting people to the manifest group. Okay, so invite like-minded people. Invite people that you know at work, that you know in your families, your friends, who you believe would really benefit from having this positive group in their life. Please don't just add them. Pardon me. Follow the rules. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways that you actually can get another entry. So you could have 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 20 chances of winning just by the more steps that you do. Okay, so thank you all. I love having you in here, and welcome to those of you who are new. Bye, I'll see you next week.